Hey, I'll tell you right now, we're back here with our fun little weird little bachelor game thing, this time with the Tales of Zestiria cast. You know the rules, folks. Here we judge on 5 characteristics. Cutitude, level of kindly, cuddly, no, I messed it up. Cutitude, kindliness, level of cuddly, strength, and righteousness, baby. That's right, I altered the program slightly. First of all, it will now no longer crash if I type a bunch of random nonsense. It'll just assume everything was 0, and I can say no and go again. And secondly, I split up the 2 different strengths, the strength of conviction and the strength of in battle, so that it's less confusing this time. But the weights are still as it were. As it was. Cutitude is defined as their attractiveness as per my opinion. Strength is how good I think they are in a fight, which is necessary in most of the fictional worlds we're in. Righteous, honey! It's how likely I think they are to be doing good things, and additionally I think how likely they are to actually stay and protect me should push come to shove in Glenwood. That's right, I changed the level of cuddly to quality of cuddly after some considerations I made into our Fodlin Bachelor episode. This includes how fun this person would be to spend time with, basically. And kindliness. Are they concerned for others' welfare? And are they not into the whole murder thing too much? So no, you did not get that right? Let's kick it off strong with Saray. He's got pretty eyes. He's a cute man, that. And strength, I mean, he is the shepherd and all. He is, like, pretty solid at fighting. Not when I played as him. Oh my god, Jesus. But like in terms of in-universe strength, he's probably nearing the upper limit. But I don't know that you ever reach a point in the game where you're like canonically god status or anything like that. So I think a 4 is appropriate. It's probably gonna be for most of our main part cast. And Righteous Honey, this is like at max versus Saray. Saray is like all about helping the people, and he's pretty firm in his convictions about it, so I don't think he loses any points there. I think he's at maximum. As for quality time, he might take a few hits here. He seems like he would be a good and fun and energetic and spirited, lovely dude to hang out with. He's very into ruins. I think he would often be like, I know a spot, and you would get there, and it would be like an asthmatic's nightmare. It would be the dustiest old crypt. There would be corpses, unembalmed, just rotting there, and he would be like, this is so cool, right? And it'd be like, okay, get me out. So I'm thinking, let's go with a 6 there. If you could convince him to take you to somewhere that wasn't like where corpses are, nor did it have like a wall to like translate, I think it would be a lot of fun, but otherwise somewhat tedious. Kindliness, I mean, this is like nearing max. He's like, him being like a nice guy is like a major part of his character and story. So I think I might have to give him full points here. I'm gonna put him up at, just to show off the flexibility of my program now. If I put it above a 10, it just goes to 10. So good job me for fixing that. And did you get that right? Yeah, that works for me. Next contestant, Zenrus. He's an old dude. No offense. In terms of strength in a fight, I mean, I'm trying to remember if they actually have any mention of him fighting anywhere. Knowing JRPGs, he's probably like a secret boss somehow. It's like if you headbutt this tree 3 times, and then take the leaf and split it in half, eat one half, and then sell the other half to this particular merchant, it unlocks a secret boss where he can fight Zenrus. But as far as we know, Heldolf came after him and he straight up died pretty fast, so that's gonna be like a 1 there, because Heldolf isn't that good at fighting. He's pretty easy to beat. I'm joking. Turns up being like doing the right thing and like strength conviction. Interesting one. Now it has been some time since I played this series, so forgive me if I'm missing some of the finer details here, but I think it's pretty high here because he's raising the 2 kids basically. I think it is his intent that they become the next shepherd and one of his sublords. So he's like proper raising kids, you know, to be superheroes and stuff. The thing is, he's basically is in the story 3 times. Once at the beginning, once when you go back and Lila talks to him, and then once at the end when he, you know. And it sort of feels like he maybe didn't really have the guts to tell Saray and Mikvio about what he considered to be their fate. I mean, he's sort of. Like, he's kind of playing the angle of, like, I'll let them figure it out for themselves kind of thing. But I feel like those 2 were dependable enough that you could have told them, like, I don't know, maybe even a few years earlier to get ahead on their way journeying and stuff. And then maybe less bad stuff would have happened if they had gotten down there earlier. So it feels like maybe he didn't have the heart to. So it's like I don't think I allowed decimals during this. Let's try a 3.5. No, okay, that counts as, that didn't work. 3 then. Qualitatively, he's a grouchy old man. He'd be like, go out and hunt some more prickle boars and get me another pipe. You little shit, you sold my last one. Nah. sorry, Zenrus. And kindliness, sort of in the same department. I mean, he's not a bad dude or anything, but he's just a grouchy, grumbly old man. But I mean, he does love his grandkids very much, and he's a nice, he's a good dude. I'll give him a 4 there. Sorry, you didn't score very high as generous, but you were an old man whom I remember not enough about. Mikleo! I feel bad saying this because obviously it's like, and I'm a bad example. And it's not really his fault, but he does kind of have like a bit of a resting scowl. I mean, his hair is cool, his outfit's kind of cool too. He's all right. He's not bad looking. There you go. In terms of strength, fighting, they kind of do make him out to be like, what did I give Saray 4, I think? They kind of do make him out to be like less capable in like a duel than his older brother and maybe some of the other members of the cast. But I mean, they're all very capable fighters, and, you know, the armatus that he can wield is quite powerful. I'm gonna give him a 3 though, just because he is sort of presented as being not quite as strong as like Edna and Rose and sort of everyone else in the party. As for strength of conviction, you know, I think this is something he and Saray kind of share. I think maybe Mikleo is a little bit less because it's the right thing to do, and more, and maybe a little bit more because I would feel really awkward if I didn't, kind of thing. Or not awkward, but like he's like I want to know what's going on here. I'd rather not leave it unknown, and also I don't want Saray to go out and get himself killed because he's an idiot. It's kind of like Mikleo's stance on it all. So I feel like but it's still very high. Like he ain't slowing down for no one. But I think I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5 instead of a 5 out of 5 just because of the reasons behind it, I think. Mikleo isn't really a romantic kind of dude. I don't think he's quite as, like, Genki about it as Saray is, but he would... Oh my god, sorry. He would probably be taking you out on dates to, like, historical research sites as well, or, like, libraries, which, you know, totally cool. But, like... Can we please stay home? I hate having to renew my library card every time we go out on a date. Or seems a little unfair, but 4. Kindliness. Now, I mean, again, he's a bit of a sourpuss sometimes. But again, not really like a bad dude or anything like that. Just, I don't think it comes as naturally to him to care about others' well-being as it does for Saray. He can be a very sort of we come first kind of person. And sometimes he's kind of mean to Edna. She definitely started it though, and she's like way worse to him. The rivalry definitely gets out of hand. I'm tempted to give him a 4 here again, but I feel like there's a lot of 3s and 4s going on here. Oh right, but the strength and righteous are out of 5, so the 4, it's a different kind of 4 there. No, that's my gut. I'm gonna go with 4. That was my gut response. I get the feeling there's gonna be a lot of people who don't score very high here. But that won't be a problem with this one. Lila! Q2, I think we can go with 1,000 for that. Strength out of 5. No, I think, like, I'd probably put her on par with Saray here. She's, like, very capable, extremely powerful magic, and she's the Prime Lord, obviously, so she commands a lot of power in that sense as well. I don't think they ever explained if it's possible for her to have a sublord if there isn't a shepherd around, but, like, supposing you two were out and about and you needed some extra firepower, she could just, like, you know, to beat away the Hellions that encroach upon you from the darkness. She could just grab any old seraph anyway by, like, oh, you, sublord, get over here now. You have magic powers. We're all fighting together now. So that's a useful skill. Not to mention her incredible fire arts. No one's getting through the Concertus Inferno without a bit of a burn. So I'm putting on power Saray there, I think. And righteous, honey. She probably loses a few points here because she, like I kept saying in the game, while we were playing the game, and I think this is probably one of my favorite things about her, I guess, as a character. Which is a shame that it means she's gonna score slightly lower for it. She's very much the Gandalf of the party in that she's very sentimental, and it's sometimes that comes first, and like she falters in the face of heroic duty because she'd rather do what's nice. Like very often Saray will be like, "There are guys dying over there, we gotta go help," and she's like, "But that'll be taxing on your mental state, Saray." And he's like, "I know, but it'll be worse if they die." And she's like, "Oh, I guess you're right about it." You know, like she's kind of, not to worry because her kindliness score is high, but I think her righteous has to go down to probably a 2 or 3 because of it. And the implication is sort of that she has been wishy-washy about it with other shepherds in the past, and that's maybe why they failed. It's because she's always kind of like, she's wanting to look out for what's best for them personally, because she likes people and not doing what's sort of morally heroic, which you could argue is it's righteous in its own sense, strong morally in its own sense. But I think I'm gonna put her down a bit lower for there. God, you got like this has got to be high. I mean, she doesn't. Well, I mean, no. Sure, no, yes, it has to be high because she's got jokes to lighten the mood. She does origami at that one point. She can do magic tricks and make like paper fly around her and do wings and stuff. Plus, if you're curling up in front of the fire, I mean, that's Lila's thing. She can tune that fire to be the absolute perfect fire. And there's that really sweet scene she has with Rose where they're bonding and she's... Oh yeah, she's brushing her hair. I need to tie it back for when we get into a fight, she says, as if cutting it is not an option. Yeah, just leave it like 6 meters long, that's fine. That probably won't get in the way. No, that's gotta be high though. 9. Yes? 9 or 8? 9. And kindliness, I think we have to go max here, or this is something that she and Saray are very similar in. Although Saray's more like, his kindliness extends to like, I need to make sure everyone I see is happy, otherwise I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight. And Lila's a bit more like, I need to make sure the 4 people around me are happy, otherwise I'm gonna cry myself to sleep at night. But I think they're both at max kindly for that. So you absolutely got that right. Alicia! That's a very pretty woman. Doesn't wear pants though, so that's a little weird, gotta be honest. Strength. Now her resonance is not as high as the other members of the cast, which means her ability to fight, like, with Seraphim and stuff is lower. But in terms of, like, just throwing down with monsters and stuff, she still, like, stands on par with them, basically. Which, if anything, is more impressive. But I think it earns her a spot alongside Lila and Saray. I think she's at a 4 there. She's wickedly tough, like, physically, like, defensive. And she is no joke with a spear. I think this has to be at max, too. I mean, she falters at, like, the odd time, but it's, like, only in private to, like, her 2 friends, like her maid and then Saray that one time. And even then, faltering isn't really what strong morality is about anyway. It's not about not faltering, it's about persisting after the falterance, which is basically her, like, whole thing. She is utterly unstoppable, even in the face of, her entire country thinking she's stupid and, like, a joke and stuff, and, like, not telling her anything. So she gets max score there. I have to imagine this is not very high. Do you remember in the Glenwood Bachelor one where I was talking about this stat for Ingrid and Ferdinand? I think she'd be like a blend of the two. Like, her idea of us hanging out would be like, I prepared a 3-part sermon on my view of nobility and our duty to the common folk. After which is a sparring session, complimentary. So I'm gonna have to put you down at like a 3 there. But like, that would be endearing in its own way. So I'll give you 3 there. And as for kindliness, this is pretty high. I don't know that it's exactly like a defining feature of her as much as it is for like Saray and Lila. I think for her it much more falls under the purview of duty and honor, rather than I'm doing this because I want to see like the civilian smile and all. Not that I expect she doesn't. So I'll give her a 7 there. Well scored, Alicia. Well done. Voltron! She's alright looking. I don't know, the expression she wears always freaks me out. Her armor looks kind of weird. I'll give you a 3 there. In terms of strength, though, I mean, she's some kind of hellion. So I think she probably gets a 5 here. Or maybe a 4. Well, no, I mean, it does take, like, all of Saray and Alicia and, like, all the Seraphim to beat her, so... Probably she's I mean, I'm sort of imagining Heldolf is a 5 in this universe. And Maltram was, reasonably on par with his strength in terms of, in a duel. In terms of what Heldolf can do outside of a fight, he probably has more abilities than her, really, considering she's sort of his underling. But in terms of a fight, I found I probably spent more time fighting her, to be honest. Strength of morality, this is probably a 0 for her, right? I'll give her a 1. I'll grant her a 1 because I feel like there was a part of her, at least at some point, that was sort of a good mother figure to Alicia. But, I mean, even her last moments with Alicia are not exactly like... Thanks for the time we spent together, sweetie. They're like, ha ha, fuck you. So I think a 1 there is appropriate. Quality of cuddly, no, thank you. Kindliness, again, it's just sort of on the same wavelength of that morality thing with Alicia. You get 1 point there, but no, she's a total dick. Chancellor Bartlow, I think a 0 is probably appropriate here. That guy, like, fell over the second there were assassins in the room. I don't think he's really doing much fighting. He's sort of the worst for this sort of thing. I mean, he's got some money. He could probably take you out to have fun somewhere. You just wouldn't, because he has no kindliness. There we go. Natalie! Now you may be like, who's Natalie? I don't remember a character named Natalie. Natalie is that one seraph who was all like, I don't want to turn into a hellion, Saray, because I would be a burden to you. And so I'm including her in this for the only reason that I want to give her a high score so that she feels better. Because that's the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. I barely remember what she looks like, though, so let's just say she was reasonably pretty, probably alright in a fight because she's a seraph, has some decent morality on her. Probably would be a bit of a buzzkill because she seems like kind of a gloomy person, but other than that, seems alright. M seems pretty kind. There we go. Hopefully that decent score makes her less gloomy all the time. Heldolf! Now, for cutitude, I'm gonna say that I take the better score of Mufasa mode and less Mufasa mode. And when he was a human, he was a decent enough looking dude. He's a little on the older side, but got a bold figure. Reminds me a bit of Slayer from Guilty Gear, and he's a pretty good looking dude, I guess, so that. I think we said he's max strength, because he's just, the Lord of Calamity, and that's, means something, I guess. Now, strength of morality and conviction. Oh, right, I was kind of saying this was strength of conviction before, right? In Fodlan, the Fodlan one. It's a bit of both, I mean. Even in his wicked zeal in, chasing the world of Hellions he desires, he still is kind of wobbly in that, right? Like, he's not like, it's not like he never listens to what Saray and the others are saying. He's just kind of like, no, but this is easier. Like, that's his argument usually. Whenever they bring up a good point, he's like, well, but shut up! I'd rather do this. And there's a sense of morality to what he has in mind, because he's doing the villain thing where he's like, people in the world are experiencing pain. Well, if we couldn't feel anything, then pain wouldn't be a problem. And it's like, there's a noble sentiment behind that, I guess. So I'll give you a 2 there. Quality cuddly, even before he was all feline. I mean, he was like a gruff war general. If you were hanging out, he'd be like, let's play chess, and after I dunk on you in chess, I can show you where I'm planning to move the troops tomorrow. Trust me, you're gonna love it. I mean, there would be enough passion there that I guess you'd be like, you wouldn't be bored anyway, so there's that. And again, the 3 there again, too, because it's like, his whole aspirations come from a place of wanting people not to suffer, but like, he hasn't thought about it hard enough to show that he really cares, basically. There's your stats. He probably scored better than I expected. Michael? Is that even his name? I might even be spelling it wrong. The Last Shepherd? I don't even remember what he looks like. Probably fine looking. He was a shepherd, so he was probably decently strong. Had some righteousness in him before he stabbed a baby or whatever he did. I don't know, this character doesn't really matter. He'd probably always be talking about the job, though, so I'll give him a 3 like I had for Heldolf. Probably sort of similar there. Kind of average. There you go, Michael. Question mark. Maven! He's an old dude as well, but he's a better looking old dude. So I am, what did I give Zenris? Let's give him 2 more than whatever I gave Zenris. I think I gave Zenris like a 2. So 4 for Maven. God, Maven was not easy to beat, but I think canonically he's probably like closer to like on par with Saray and Ko's strength, so I'll do that. Righteous, honey. He was very strong in his convictions. When Lila was all like, I mean, Lila basically asked him to make the ultimate sacrifice, and he, with very little hesitation, did it. So there's a lot there, but I mean, he kind of, I'm trying to remember, what does he, I mean, he makes them fight him for some reason beforehand, which just seems like a bit odd, but I think he probably gets max points there. And when he's not throwing dishware at you, he's like Saray, he's a bit of a ruin nerd and stuff, but he's a bit more, less ruins and more just like adventuring and seeing the sights anyway, and being that he's a storyteller, he probably has a lot of good stories to tell, so this would probably be alright. Yeah, give you a 6 there. It's probably I think that's what I gave Saray, isn't it? Kind of this, I mean, he does sacrifice his whole life for, humanity, and seems like a pretty chill dude outside of that. It's probably a 7. Good. Talvern and Felice, I think was her name. The twins. They were pretty good looking, as I recall. Weren't worth much in a fight. Got tied up that one time and took like a half hour to get them down. I mean, they're assassins. They're like good-hearted assassins, but they still kill people for money. Or do they take contracts, or do they just kill people that they think are bad? I mean, the assassins they're living a hard life for good purposes, and I think that puts them in a decent strength of morality. By the way, I lumped them together because I don't remember. I can't tell them apart. Like in my head, I don't remember them saying anything different than one another. They were twins, right? They must have been, because I couldn't tell them apart from a distance. I don't know, they seemed pretty chill outside of their whole assassinating. And one of them was voiced by Chris Hackney, and his voice is lovely, so there you go. You get an extra point for that. Kinda let's put you on the average end, because I don't really know how else to answer that. Rose! Super cute. She's got the really friendly face, and she's got the cool hair that's, red, and she's got the whole cool outfit that's like black, and I'm really not nailing this, I'm just talking about colors now. And in my file, she had the scorpion, claw things. And strength, I think she's probably on par with Saray, Lila, and them. I mean, she's a freakishly good assassin even without the Shepherd's powers, and then once she gets them, she has extremely high resonance and makes good use of all the Armatai? What's the plural of Armatus? Is it Armatuses or Armatai? I can't remember. They maybe never said it. Or maybe it's just Armatus. But I think most of our player characters were 4. As for Righteous, again, this is a bit of a tricky one, because in terms of her conviction to carry out her assassinating ways, it's like max, right? And the moral implication, again, is that they're like good-hearted Robin Hood sort of assassins who don't take on evil deeds and stuff. But like she says to Saray at one point, if things get bad, it looks like he can't do it, she's just gonna start stabbing. And that displays a lot of conviction to that morality, but because this is a renowned reality TV show hosted by me, and therefore my opinion is the only one that matters, I would say she loses just 1 point off morality for being as willing as she is to just, like, threaten children with knives and stuff. I thought they were gonna, like, cut me in half. Yeah, these kids were following. That's just what I thought was following us. Whoa, okay, it's a kid, Rose. Jesus. But she's obviously cuts a very heroic figure, saves Soraya basically for the heck of it when she sees him dying in the middle of nowhere, and is ultimately leading, like I said before, a difficult life for good reasons. And when she's not being an assassin, she's totally chill to hang out with. So she probably gets a high score here. And you know, she's a shrewd, like, she's like from a merchant family and stuff. So she's well traveled. So she would probably have good ideas of like where to go on a date, and she would be able to get you good prices and stuff. She'd take you out and make sure you were having a good time. I think she gets like near max points there. She's just, you know, a bit sharp and sassy now and again. In a way that is totally her prerogative, but there would be like the one odd comment in what is otherwise a very lovely time where she'd be like, yeah, I could be doing something else now, you know, I have like working 2 jobs, an assassin merchant, but I'm having a good time here, and you'd be like, well, I'm gonna be thinking about that for the rest of the night, but that would happen once every 3 months, so you'd know it's fine. And kindliness, again, Soraya and I both took issue with her being like a killer because we see her as such a good-hearted person other than that, and I don't think Soraya and I were wrong about that. I think she's in terms of her moment-to-moment kindness with other people, and she teases now and then, but she's generally good-spirited. So I think an A here is appropriate. I mean, if nothing else, she's charismatic because she, you know, needs to be with both of her professions. So maybe she's fooling me into thinking she's nicer than she is, but it's working. Agil, he's a pretty handsome dude. That I like his beard. Kind of actually it does a sort of similar thing to mine, where like there's this little like spike bit that comes out in the side, and I'm not quite as fond of it on me, but it looks good on him. And strength. I mean, he's probably, what did I give the twins, a 2 here? I think probably that was right. I think I gave them a 1, but he's a little better. He's maybe a little more capable than them. But I wouldn't say he's on, I mean, he went down pretty fast when we fought him the first time, and I wouldn't say he's on like Rose and Soraya and Lila level. Maybe a 3 is more appropriate. I'm giving him a 2 anyway, though. Righteousness, what did I give Talfred and Felice? I think I gave them a 3, and that's somewhat appropriate for him. I would have given him a bit higher if I had a larger scale to work with, and it wasn't just integers, because I feel like his following, I mean, they're all loyal to Rose somewhat, but I feel like he especially is very close with her and follows her because he feels like the strong moral conviction that she has in her work, and I think that bleeds through to him, and I would say he has, therefore, should technically score a bit higher than I gave Telford and Fleece, but I believe I gave him a 3. I don't think he quite reaches as far as a 4, which is what I gave Rose, so. No, but then he's pretty right there with Rose. He's like her right-hand man. And I'm trying to think, he basically never questions her at all, and he always sort of like very much trusts that she has the right thing in mind, which is, considering I tend to think that she usually does, that leads me to believe that Agil probably has the right stuff in mind. You know, I'll give him a 4 there. I'm feeling like that is appropriate. And he seems like he'd be a friendly dude. I mean, he's obviously like sort of the coordinator of the Scattered Bones / Sparrow Feathers. So with that comes a certain like a skill at being with people and like sort of a charisma, like I was saying about Rose. I don't know, and he's always kind of cordial and friendly, and just seems like he'd always meet you with a warm smile. Like middle of the road good, if you feel me. No, extra point because he's voiced by Ben Leslie, so his voice is gorgeous. And kindliness, yeah, I think this is probably somewhere around, I think I put the twins at like a 5. He's warm and friendly, but I don't feel like kindness really factors into it as much as a want to do the right thing and a loyalty to Rose. So I think it's probably a bit down more like 5, but it's not like he's again, like an actively sour dude or anything like that, who like wants people to suffer. There you go, Agil. That's all! Yeah, see, the thing is, I like Dezel. I liked him. Every time I look at his face and his weird sharp teeth, all I can think of is the video of that guy going, "My main goal is to blow up and act like I don't know nobody." And it just puts me off. I'm sorry. So I'm putting him down at a 4 for that. But I would say in terms of fighting, again, on par with the others, 4. Works there. Righteous and morality. Points for conviction here. Intense conviction. I'll probably have to put him down at 2 because that's what I gave Heldolf, and I think that's probably right, because he's very much like, I would like my revenge, and then after that, I would still like my revenge, and if it can be arranged, I would like to not have my revenge. He starts to turn around like just a little bit right before he dies. In the Wind Temple, you start to see him kind of like soften and be like, maybe I shouldn't be so hard on myself, so that I can be less hard on others, and I can start to sort of, give back to this world what I was taking from it. But, he dies sort of right after that. So doesn't get too much time to redeem himself in that front. So I'm going to give him a similarly low score here, I think. He's a dog person. He would probably rather hang out with the dog than you, though. So 2. And kindliness, yeah, sorry, Dazzle. 2, I think, is also appropriate there. No, I'll give him a 3 there. Let me go back through that. So it was a 4, 4, 2, 2, 3. So 4, 4, 2, 2. Because again, like I said, he does start to turn around and there's very clearly a part of him that desperately would rather not be the way he is and would rather put that behind him so he can focus on, like, mending the damage he's done and being a better person. But the fact that he does not prioritize that over the whole revenge stick, I think earns him a lower score here. But not 2, not quite as far as 2, because I think that's what I gave Held Off, and that feels unfair. Sergey! I'm not still mad, I promise. I mean, he's sort of a bold-looking chap. I don't think he looks bad. Maybe just not exactly my type. That would be more along the Saray side of things. Or really the Lila things, if you say the side of things, we're being serious. This guy is ridiculously strong, man. I think I had to put him on par with Saray here. I mean, it is his Lion's Howl technique that ultimately takes out Heldolf, so I don't... This guy is, like, weirdly strong. Actually. So I think I'm putting him in 4 there. I think he probably gets max points here. He is sort of like the definition of righteous, and I think that's part of why he takes a shine to Saray, because he very much sees that they are similar in that way, I think. And much like Saray, he has this thing where it's like, I understand that people are gonna maybe not like me if I do the right thing here and help them, but it doesn't, it upsets him but can't deter him, I think. And I think that earns him high points there. He's obviously got a very sentimental side. Do I think he would kind of have a bit of a holier-than-thou, the duty I must undertake thing that would interrupt any sort of meaningful time you could spend with him? Yes. But it would interrupt it, meaning there was meaningful time spent in the first place. So I'll give him a 6 there. And I think kindliness is pretty high. Probably an 8. Because there is still that duty must come first thing rather than I'd like to, you know, make you happy. But I think with him, it does come from a place of I'd like to make, you know, let people... avoid people's suffering and make them happy kind of thing, more than someone like Egil or Alicia. So I think I'll go for an 8 there. I don't even know how many more of these we have. The Ebonist skill, yes. Now obviously this is an incredibly attractive skill to have. It's wickedly powerful, the most powerful in our skill. Righteousness, cannot have righteousness, it's a skill. And it did take me an awful long time to get that skill, and it was really boring actually and not very fun. No, it was kind of fun, but it was boring. It was a bit of both. So I'll give you a 3 there. And kindliness, I don't suppose the skill can have kindliness. It just, well, it protects you. That's a kindliness of a sort. I don't know why I'm being literal about this. 10, just to boost its points, because it deserves a high ranking. Zavid! He and Alicia would make quite the pair, man. She doesn't wear pants, he doesn't wear a shirt. But his long hair is pretty cool. Strength. Yeah, I guess I have to give him a 4 here. Really, I should put him a bit higher than Saray and the others because he's able to take them all on just by himself at first. But putting him 1 point higher than Saray and the others would put him at 5, which would mean he's on par with Heldolf, which I don't think is accurate. Heldolf and Maltran. So I'll put him down at 4 with them. But really, he should be a little higher than them in that regard. Righteous, honey! Yeah, he probably gets low points here. He's a bit lawless. He doesn't really have strong in some ways has strong conviction, but is very flip-floppy in other ways, right? Because at first he's all like, well, if you're trying to purify Hellions and be the goody two-shoes that you think this world needs, then I gotta get rid of you, so I can take my vengeance on them. And then, like, the next time you see him, he's like, oh yeah, time to kick your ass again. The next time you see him, he's like, yeah, we're still doing this. And you're like, why at this point? And then he's like, yeah, but next time I see you, we might be more cool. And the next time you see him, he's like, here's a gun. I'll be seeing you later. And then the next time you see him, he's like, can I join your class? And it's like high conviction because he does end up doing the things he was going to settle the score with. He settled the score with Mautellus and Eisen, I guess. But he's very flip-floppy other than that. And morality isn't really a thing he's, super concerned about. It is of some concern to him. Not a lot. He's an incorrigible flirt, so I think any time spent with him would be a lot of time spent trying to keep his eyes off of anyone else. He'd be like, you'd be out to dinner and he'd be like, oh, sorry, I gotta take this, and pull out his phone. He'd be like, would you mind if 3 to 4 other girls came with us on this? But he's got jokes and he's fond of dirty dancing, and he's decidedly physical being, so he gets some points there. He would fancy himself a 10 in this score, and we respect the passion. I think that's the idea. You know what? He actually has got a bit of kindness. I mean, he says that he and his crew took Desolin and raised him at some point, which suggests a sort of altruism. And he clearly like shows a lot of remorse when he finally joins the party. He's like, hey, you know how I was kind of a jerk earlier? I guess I'm sorry about that. But he still approaches the whole thing with this kind of, as long as I get what I want, I'm happy. And I mean, you guys don't seem the worst, so I'll carry on with you. He's not really like, I mean, he cracks jokes to lighten the mood and stuff. I think a 6 is appropriate anyway. Kind of like held off, it's like, he doesn't give enough thought to it to really have like an 8 or above. But he's capable of feeling remorse, and he tries to make the others happy now and then. So there you go. Cardinal Fortin is a grouchy old priest. Wasn't really that hard to fight, I don't think. Did we even lose that fight once? I mean, if you didn't lose a fight in Tales of Zestiria, it can't have been that hard. We basically died at like every boss fight in that game. We probably did die to her once or twice, but like, I don't remember that fight, so that says to me that we didn't spend very long on it. She was a pretty passionate hellion, but I think a 2 is appropriate there. Righteous, honey. There was sort of a side quest that we did where they sort of mentioned that like all the Medusae were all people like righteous holy women who took too much on and let themselves be consumed with the pressure of that, and that's sort of supposed to be like a bit of a cautionary tale for Saray there. His like third cautionary tale of like, hey, maybe you shouldn't pressure yourself so much. But obviously then it morphs into this very self-destructive cycle of I shall be their savior. I must be their savior. I will be their savior. So it was there for some time. I think a 3 is appropriate because it, like with Held Off, he gets so corrupted that it's like the morality by the end is gone, but Fortin's still trying to actually save people and not plunge the world into the worst thing even when she goes Helionized. It's just so vicious, and I'm not remembering that story arc enough to really be making these claims. But I think 3 is appropriate. I don't think so. Poan! Oh yes, I didn't include any of the other like keepers of the elemental trials or anything. I included him just because I don't like him and I want to give him a low score. Basically the opposite of what we're doing with Natalie. He always wears a mask, so he's probably butt ugly. I imagine he sucks in a fight. He's a dick. I don't want to spend time with him, so I don't care about this stat. And he's got a nice thing once or twice, you get 1 point. You're gross and weird to go away. Oh no! It crashed. Now I have to enter in all the scores again. Oh, I put way too many. Oh, I'm stupid. All right, give me a moment to stop the recording and go remember what all those numbers were so I can enter them in the same way I just did. All right, that took forever to get back there. Oh, it was only about 10 minutes. It felt like much longer than that. But I also, during that time, while I was fixing it, realized that I completely forgot to add Lunar, and he was major enough around the beginning, I guess, that he probably deserves a spot. Foxy Loxy with your foxy locks. You were a decent Dur fighter that I gave you credit for initially. You're kind of a jerk. This is mostly he became alien just to spite Rose for not wanting to marry him, right? Am I remembering that correctly? His ears would probably be soft if he has foxy ears, which I am forgetting if he does, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt and give him 1 point for there. And he's not a very nice guy. Oh, I just moved the window. Sorry, editing me. Finally, results time. All right, let's see who ranks at the very, very bottom. I have a guess at who it is. Poan! Oh no, it's Bartlow. Oops. Oh right, I gave Poan 1 score in kindliness, which accounts for more points than the other ones do, so he's tied for Bartlow, but Bartlow came first in the list, so that's why they're both sharing the tier, the unholy. If you were stuck in a relationship with this person, it would suck. If you were stuck in a relationship with this person, it would be worse, really. I shouldn't have even really given him the 1 kindliness point. I think that was being too kind on my part. I should get a kindliness score of 10. For having dared to give him a point. He's gross and I don't like him. Moving on. Up the next tier! That was fast. Defiler of consecrated ground. This would be a decidedly unpleasant relationship if you were with this person. Lunar has a creepy villain smile, a wicked jealous streak where he'll turn into like a vicious fanged monster if you say you won't marry him. So I mean, there's your relationship prospect right there. I mean, I don't even really need to say more than that. That's awful. And the boss fight with him, the last one you do anyway, where he dies, sucked. I hated it. So, even sparring, even when your relationship finally broke down to the point that you were willing to just beat him to death with a couch, it would not be an enjoyable experience because fighting him sucks too. There you go. Now we're in the tier. Maltran, more than so than Lunar, approaches the experience of dating a person with emotions and aspirations and being driven by more than just hatred. From what I can glean here, you would have like 2 fond memories of her by the end, but then overall you'd be like, wow, she really wasn't very nice, I don't think. But hey, on the off chance that she had any desire whatsoever to save you from mortal peril, she would probably do a bang-up job of it. So there's that. There's a positive point. There, and the 1 or 2 positive memories you'd have from the 1 or 2 times she was a good mentor to you during your relationship would be nice, I guess. Up the next tier. Now we're in tier. This at least would not be like a destructive and painful ordeal, I don't think, dating this Zenris. He's just a grumpy old man that I probably wouldn't want to spend much time with outside of a professional environment, and even then, pushing it a bit. But like, because obviously you would never actively date most of the people below the 30% score, we're assuming that you ending up in a relationship with them is like a supreme ordeal that neither of you had any say in. In which event, I mean, there are obviously worse people to be paired up with than him, I guess. He's not a bad dude. He's just a grumpy old man. This is the ultimate thesis with Zenris in this competition. Still in tier, on the same score as Zenris actually, which I did not expect, is Dezel. I think he probably could have scored a little higher. He has love in him. It's just that, like, whenever it comes time to say or do something important, the hate in him is all like, get out of the way. I'm gonna kick your ass. So I could have given him probably a bit of a higher kindliness score, I think, because he's, because I was saying that he doesn't really show his kindness as much during the story, but I forgot that he's very nice to the animals as well. And so I probably could have put him up around like 4 or 3, but he would probably still land himself in the tier, because I don't know, I do know. He's just kind of a sour dude. Very much fond of when things die, and it's because of him. Now and then, And I don't have the teeth. I couldn't get around it. I'm not saying no one with sharp teeth like that could pull it off. I'm just saying he doesn't for me. Still in tier, incidentally with the same score of 32%, and there's a lot of people hanging around this area, is Cardinal Thornton. Yeah, there's something wrong with the 3 of them having the same score. I think it should go Dezel, then Zenris, then Thornton. Again, I'm sort of giving her a lot of leeway here because I'm operating on guesswork that she used to be a lot nicer. And I think that's probably all that needs to be said about that. Hey, if your dedication to people is so strong and you're so vehement about it that you turn into a giant snake lady, that's cool, that's your choice. Don't expect me to still be there when you get home. I can't not believe Heldolf scored higher than Dezel, actually. Oh, well, he's got fighting prowess. Again, I'm sort of operating on the not Lion King version of Heldolf for this, which we're sort of assuming he was, not the absolute worst dude. He had a lot of very sad and grim things happen to him when he was trying to do the right thing. I just think I'm not really into dating military leaders, which is ironic then that I started with Fire Emblem for this series. But I think again, like I said a lot in Three Houses, he's pretty serious, and I think he would not jive well with me. Heldolf, he tried. We can say that, I think. Now we're into F tier. This is the relationship you had that did not work out, but like it was bad, and you both agreed it was, and it's like, all right, this doesn't need to go on any longer, I don't think. And he's actually at the higher end of F tier, because Michael, he ended up pretty bad, but okay, a lot of these characters we didn't know when they were normal, okay? I have to put in a lot of guesswork for this game, because they're all like murderers or like giant monsters when you actually meet them, or you only hear of their horrible deeds like way thousands of years after they happen. I barely remember this dude's name. Forgettability, that was his worst mistake in our relationship. And still in F tier is Mikleo. That does feel a little unfair to him to make him only a few points above Michael. Mikleo's cool, I liked him, just don't reckon he'd like me. Doesn't seem very friendly, or like he would have time for my nonsense, and that's fine, just hence why it didn't work out. Now we're in D tier. This is like, maybe we could try it again sometime. I don't know. We had our fun together, but maybe it's just best we go our separate ways. But I appreciate what our relationship meant. I forgot a lot of the characters in the game. Okay, please don't be mad. I barely remember anything about Delphin and Felice's personality. They seemed chill. They were always scouting ahead and being good friends to Rose. That's cool of them. Zavid! Zavid scored higher than Mikleo. Actually, that's a little surprising. I guess he's a bit more the boisterous and talkative type, so he's a little more up my alley in that respect. But he wants to date more people than me. That's his prerogative. Goodbye, I guess. Don't forget your shirt on the way out. And please stop ambushing me while I'm like on my way to the store and being like, we must fight now! And then not explaining why, because it's starting to get on my nerves. Now we're in C tier. This ain't even bad, really. This is just kind of okay. This was an okay relationship that I would be happy to have had. And it could go either way. Maybe this turns into something more, maybe it didn't. Igil! A nice friendly second in command of the Sparrow Feathers / Scattered Bones. He's pretty chill. He's loyal, quick thinking. He would be a good guy to have around if you were in a high stress situation. Like when the pandemic hit, if you had to go into lockdown with this guy, that'd be all right. He'd have it under control, probably. And like I said, he's got a friendly smile. He just seems like he would be like a normal, down-to-earth, chill dude. Maven! Yeah, he's another old guy. It's an RPG, there are a lot of those. But he's got a spring in his step, he likes telling stories, and if you get over to the occasional dish hucked at your head, he'd probably be chill to hang around with. He'd be the kind of guy who's always be like, let's go to a museum, or like, the theme parks in town, or we should go watch this double feature of a movie that you've already seen. Always there and up front, and it would get to be a bit much, but he's all right. Now, Alicia. Yes, Alicia, I'm sorry. C tier does seem a bit harsh for you. Man, I feel bad about a lot of the ways I'm scoring these people. It's much, you know what, I think this is coming, so there's a trend though. Much like the ones in Three Houses, there are a lot of characters who are scoring low, and it's basically just because they're very serious, and I don't think I would enjoy... Well, it's not that I wouldn't necessarily enjoy spending extended periods of time with them, it's that they would not be able to put up with me because I cannot be serious for that length of time. I'm just incapable, and it would create problems, but she's a very, very nice person, and so cool and strong. And pretty. Did I mention strong? As a leader, yes, I would accept you any day of the week for nigh any purpose. As a relationship partner, there are plenty of fish in the sea. You'll find someone better than me. Let's go on next. B tier! We're starting to get into relationships I would feel very, very lucky to be a part of. These are partners who will be very loyal and caring, and you will have a lot going on. I'm saying you, I mean me. I would have a good time hanging out with them. They would be useful if things went scary, as they so often do in Tales games. I'd be happy about it. Sergey. In a lot of ways, he's much like Alicia, and they end up cooperating in the end because of that. And I think he would have scored around her level if he didn't have that like very obvious, silly, soft side to him that I find very endearing, and probably would mean that he would be able to tolerate me a little bit more, I would imagine. And he's got that heart for the people, he wants his ideal world is a safe town where people are coming and going, and there are couples walking by arm in arm, and everyone's face is lit up like Christmas. And that's cool. I dig that for him, and I would dig that for us. Natalie! Side character I elevated to important status just because I wanted to give you a nice score. You're all right, Natalie. You're cool. Please stop being sad. The Ebonist skill! Sorry, Natalie. I mean, if it was you or the Ebonist skill, it was scored 2% higher than you. If you're walking down the street and someone goes, hey, you look ugly in that sweater. Ebonist, picture this scene. Ebonist hurls itself in front of you, reflects that right back at that person. Now that person has the ugly sweater. I don't know what that means, but that's a supportive partner right there. Now we're in A tier. This is the relationship that, holy crap, relationship of my life. This is a keeper. Obviously, Saray. I gushed about all over him, that sounds gross. I gushed about him the whole time we were playing the game. He's sweethearted, he's brave, he's like the ideal, he's like the superhero you fell in love with as a kid, basically. He's kind, down to earth, wicked handy in a crisis, has the best interests of those around him at heart, and he's fun and friendly, and he can take a joke, Really the only drawbacks here, well, because once again, this is really high tier, so we're having to get nitpicky. He's very, very committed to his ruin sightseeing and his shepherd work once he gets into it, so there'd be less time for you, and the time spent with you would probably be underground somewhere, not safe and or healthy to be. But he's probably chill enough that if you were like, hey, can we go somewhere with the spiders? He'd be like, oh, sure, come on, let's go somewhere you want to go. And then you would feel bad for having torn him away because he was obviously having a good time, but he can make it work, Lovely, lovely dude. And incidentally, with the same score of 84%, Rose! Not sort of what I expected, but totally tracks. Rose, what has there to be said about sweet Rose? Once again, absolutely, in a crisis, this is someone you want at your side. And she's totally sweet and charming, and absolutely would be the type of person who makes you feel better after a hard day. She's, whether or not it's honest or not, that may be up for debate. But she's friendly and charming, and only sorta into stabbing people now and again, which we all have our thing. I wish you wouldn't do it so much, but you know who you are, and I respect that. And the rest of the time that you're not doing that, you're totally lovely and the best, and I love you. I love you. Why did it not show Lila? Oh, it did. I accidentally skipped it. Whoops. Lila. Top of A tier with a whopping score of 90%. I think this top 3 is basically what I predicted would happen. This tracks. We only see her during, what is probably the most stressful time of her life in, the saving the world era of her days. And yet, she still takes all the time out to be supportive of everyone, and you know, and she makes her silly jokes, which are adorable and the best, and she's super badass in a fight. But much like Saray and the others mostly Saray and Rose, I guess. And really mostly Saray. Shows kindness to friend and foe alike, and she's just really very much a heartful and good, well-rounded person. She has a tendency to keep things from you and people if she thinks it will benefit them. And she's always trying to stop people from doing things that she thinks could be overly taxing on them, which is good in general, because it means she's looking out for your well-being. But, like, sometimes it's just like, if you're babysitting me throughout my whole life, this will not be good for either of us. I think I can use a steak knife to cut this, Lila. It is steak. I know you're worried, but it's gonna be all right. And I know you didn't want to tell me that I was overdue on paying off my credit card because you thought it would make me sad, but the fact that you didn't tell me that means we are now in massive amounts of debt. Please tell me next time. But still, there's a reason you're at top of A tier, because she's a total sweetheart. I love her so much. And that's the heart of it, folks. So that was only the second time we've done one of these, and man, I do feel like I was a lot harsher on this cast. There were a lot of side characters I didn't like. I mean, as people, not as side characters. A lot of side characters I wouldn't want to date. I feel bad about where Dezel and Alicia placed. Where did Mikleo place? Oh, I can't scroll up that far. I think I felt bad about Mikleo too. Alicia and Dezel, I definitely did dirty. I should have had them a bit higher. And probably Cardinal Fortin a bit lower. But I'm the picturesque consistency since the Fodlan one, because what we're learning is there are a lot of very serious characters that I ranked lower for that reason. And it's not because I don't love them. So that was a lot of fun. My dang light ran out of battery in the middle of that. Can't wait to do another one of these sometime soon. We're gonna have to do another one for 3 houses at some point, probably after this run we're doing, because I obviously missed a lot of the DLC characters and a few other side characters. We'll have to do another one to loop back and scoop up a few more of those. But I want to do this for a whole bunch of other games at some point. The thing is, not every game has a large cast like this, so some of them I guess would be a lot shorter. But that would be fun too. So that's all. Thank you so very much for coming around. Next video coming to the channel is going to be some more Pikmin 4. And with that, adieu. Admiral's going to be out of here. Hopefully I'll see you around. Admiral's going to be out of here. I said that already. Bye. Peace. It's 44. It's not like a normal number to have. Okay, I'm swapping to Ochi now so that all the Pikmin right over to him. I guess he can't use the glow thing, can he? Well, that's a shame. I'm gonna charge the 15 behind that. Right, okay, this one has a big,